I'm going to record now the parts 2 and 3 of my section of this course. I will share my screen. This section is about routines-based visits. Now, we are going to be talking about the visits to the home for people who make home visits, which is very, very common in the United States for serving children from birth to 3 years of age who have disabilities and their families, or for visits to a clinic, an office, or a center. So this is not so common in the United States because we have laws that say that services need to be provided in the natural environments of the child and family, or in the least restrictive environment for children ages 3 to 21. So those settings would be home, school, or community. But we know that in other countries, including Poland, some services are, many services are provided in clinics, offices, or centers. And we want to make sure that people understand that even in those unnatural environments, the visits can be based on children's functioning and naturally occurring routines. We use a matrix to determine the skill and routine to be discussed. A matrix has goals down the left-hand side, routines across the top, and X's in the routines for which each goal is appropriate or needed. It is based on collaborative, not expert. The visit is based on collaborative, not expert consultation to arrive at strategies. So as the professional is working with the caregiver, the family, the professional is using collaborative consultation approaches, which means we do not tell the family what to do. We ask them many questions to finally arrive at the question, have you ever tried fill in the blank? And that gives the family the feeling that they have participated in the development of the strategy, which increases their investment in the strategy and increases the likelihood that the family will implement the intervention. Once we have made a suggestion to the family, after getting lots of context, we then might have 3 actions. One is demonstration of what the child does. So this actually could occur even while we're developing the strategies, where the professional might say, can you show me how the child is eating, or whatever the skill might be. Or the parent might say, why don't you watch what my child does? A second demonstration is what the caregiver does. So this might be, again, at the professional's request. They might say, would you like to show me what you've been doing with your child? And I'll give you some feedback. Or it could be that the parent says, let me show you what I've been doing with my child. And the third demonstration could be by the early intervention professional for the caregiver, so that to help explain what it was that the professional had recommended. Here are key elements of collaborative consultation. You get context for the strategy, and that's what all the questions are about. ask many questions, at least 4, before making a suggestion, and then make one suggestion. Have you ever tried whatever your suggestion is? One mistake that a lot of young, new, early intervention professionals make is they say, well, you could do this, or 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 you could do this. And that really doesn't help the family unless they pick one of those, and then we proceed with the demonstrations and so forth. Is this the right strategy? So we say to the family, would you like me to show you what I'm talking about? That's the offer to demonstrate. Would you like to practice it right now? That's the offer to get feedback, to give feedback to the caregiver, to the parent. And then 2 very important questions, plausibility and feasibility. The plausibility question is, do you think this will work? And if the family says, you know, I really don't think it will work, that is good news for us, because we don't want to end the visit thinking that the family has a strategy that they think that we thought the family thought would work, when in fact the family all the time is thinking this isn't going to work. Because if the family is thinking that, they're probably not going to implement it. So we appreciate it when we have a close enough relationship with the family that they actually tell us if they don't think it will work. Then there's another question, and that is the feasibility question. That question is, with everything else you have going on at this time of the day, do you think you'll really be able to do this, to carry out the strategy with your child? Again, if the family says, you know, it's a really busy time, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, that is good news for us, so that we can cycle back and find a strategy that is plausible and feasible. And many early interventionists do not ask these questions. And so this lack of reflection after a strategy has been discussed leads too many times to strategies that are not implemented by families. Here is your individual assignment. If you were in a session with a parent, what questions would you ask to find a suitable intervention for the child to use complete sentences? So the family has already said that they would like their child to be able to use complete sentences. And what questions would you ask to find a suitable intervention for the child before you say, have you ever tried fill in the blank? So write that down and send in your answer to me. What questions would you ask? I'll give you a hint. The first question should be, what time of the day should we be talking about? The second, or rather the group assignment, is to answer this question in at least 100 words that one of you will write on behalf of the group. Do Polish professionals typically use an expert model of consultation or a collaborative model of consultation? So you, because you have to come up with 100 words, you'll have to explain your answer. If you think it's an expert model, explain what it is that they do and why they might be doing it. If it's collaborative, same thing. Why, what do they do and why do they do it? In 100 words. Moving on to part 3 of this course, and that is family outcomes. The results of early intervention should be changes in the family. How will we know we have made a difference to families. There's the Polish right stuck in the middle, right there. How will we know we have made a difference to families? There are three areas that we can think about. Achievement of family goals. So that's assuming that we are writing family goals on the intervention plans. The FAMCON, which is the family confidence scale, and the fake wall. Let me see, I'm going to share this other screen now. And go through each of these separately. So this is our website for the EIEIO, like Old MacDonald Had a Farm, the Evidence-Based International Early Intervention Office. And here you will see that there is a tab for materials. And I'm going to find the family outcomes first, intervention planning. A number of these materials under intervention planning have to do with the routines-based interview. And some of them have to do with child goals, such as the acquisition criterion examples, the very first one. Let me look for some Polish ones here. Here we go, this is a good one. The protocol for the RBI. Let me make sure this really is Polish. Yes. This looks like it is actually the satire, but it's still pretty good. So this form can help you with methods for finding out child and family needs. Let me just make a note here. Protocol Polish. Okay, let's go back and see about other the RBI checklist with EcoMap. There it is, the link. I think we need to fix that link there. RBI checklist, okay, Polish. All right, moving on now to the FAMCON. That was the family confidence one. It is right now not in Polish because it's not being used in Poland, but you can find it in English. Here it is. And you can use Google Translate to understand the concept behind this instrument. The instrument's name is Family Confidence in Helping with Child Functioning in Routines and with Family Functioning. So the first part of the FAMCON has various routines. So you can see meal times, unstructured play times, outings time, bath time, etc. And within each routine, there are 4 areas of child functioning, which how the child participates, is independent, communicates, and behaves appropriately. For each one of those aspects of functioning, the parent rates, I'm not very sure how to help my child with this. I have some idea about how to help my child with this. I mostly know how to help my child with this, or I am fully confident I know how to help my child with this. So the family completes this for these various routines, 5 of them. And then in part 2, this has to do with how to help yourself and your family. not the child. And they are divided into informational support, emotional support, and material support, and family level needs. And so just taking the first example, information about my child's special needs. I'm not very sure about this. I have some idea about this. I mostly know about this, or I am fully confident about this. So again, that's informational support, material support, emotional support, and material support. And then family level needs, as an example, finding time for myself is an example. Again, I'm not very sure about this. I have some idea about this. I mostly know about this. I am fully confident about this, about how to, I'm confident you know how to help yourself. In this case, find time for yourself. So the FAMCON is a very useful instrument, because if we are doing a good job with our routines-based visits, we would be building family confidence. We would not be building the family's reliance on professionals. Instead, we would be building the family's independence and autonomy. Now let me look at the instrument, the fake wall, that I just mentioned a little while ago. There it is. And we have that in Polish. Yeah. So here is the fake wall. And you can see that the instrument has a number of areas of family quality of life. And each one is rated from, each item is rated from 1 to 5. And there are, I think it's 32 items. Oh no, this one's, it's 40 items. This is a very good family outcome measure, because if we are doing a good job in early intervention, we are attending to family quality of life. All right, let us move on now to the next step. Other tools are the family outcomes scale and the family empowerment scale. We don't have those on our website. I didn't develop those, but you can look those up. The family outcomes scale has been used by students of mine in their doctoral dissertations. And this is by Bailey and colleagues, B-A-I-L-E-Y. And the family empowerment scale is by DiCillo and others, and it has been around for a long time. And you might even find that in Polish, because it is a well-known instrument. Your individual assignment for this area of family outcomes is to answer this question: what Polish instruments exist for assessing family outcomes for families with children with special needs? So by family outcomes, we're talking about the impact on families of getting help with their children with special needs. The group assignment is for everyone in the group to show others about the tool that the group member found in the individual assignment. So you exchange tools that you found. As a group, decide what might be the best tool for assessing family outcomes, and send that to me. As a summary, find out what the needs of the child and family are, not just what the child can and cannot do, because that is a status result. It's the child can do this, but cannot do that. And usually that's done with a norm referenced standardized test. But the things that the child does and does not do are not necessarily the same as what the child needs to do to participate meaningfully in everyday routines. Second, work collaboratively with caregivers to determine interventions, not in an expert model where we tell them what we do. Even when we use terms like, I have a recommendation for you, or I suggest you do such and such a thing, is an expert approach. The collaborative approach is to find out what the family wants to do, get lots of context for what the child is currently doing and what the family has already done, and then make a suggestion to the family, and then reflect on that suggestion, have demonstrations, practice, and ask the plausibility and feasibility questions. And third, measure family outcomes as well as child outcomes to determine your efficacy. So that concludes my section of this course. I hope you enjoy the assignments. I think you'll find them useful, and be sure to get in touch with me if you have any questions. All right, thank you very much.